Hey, well, welcome everyone to the Caught on Camera Multifamily Podcast powered by Watchtower Security. I am John Michaels and joined by Stephen Claggett. Stephen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, John. How are you?
I am awesome. I know that as we've been doing some of these podcasts for our customers and even future customers that are interested in Watchtower, one of the big topics I continue to hear about is asset protection. And so I think today's episode is really focused on forensic reviews that have really helped our customers who are property managers of multifamily assets basically take care of asset protection and really address that. So I'm excited to kind of jump in and take a look at some of these reviews today. What about you?
I am too. I think that's definitely the one of the largest values that we provide is just asset protection as a whole, whether it's the residents' assets or the clients. So there's definitely plenty to look at here.
Well, and I think we're going to get some good laughs too on some of this footage, even though it's not sometimes a laughing matter when a property gets, damaged, if you will. But I think that's one of the great things about what our forensic review team provides is that who, what, when, and where, so that the insurance companies are happy and things get repaired quickly, and those that are responsible for the damage are held accountable. All right, Stephen, I think, one of the things that I'm always reminded about when we look at these reviews is this is over 25 minutes of edited footage, which again, quick shout out to our forensic review team that do these type of reports every day for our customers. I think serving nearly north of just 850 apartment communities. But what's the Cliff's notes here on what we're watching today for this incident?
The Cliff Notes are, a resident just reported that there were some teenagers that, were going through the property middle of the night, early morning, and vandalizing vehicles and in different areas. And, that was essentially what we found here. We got a group, about 3 or 4 teenagers, I assume, dumping trash onto vehicles and messing around with traffic cones. And, it's a 25-minute video. So they were there for quite a bit of time, and we managed to capture them all throughout the property.
Yeah, it still surprises me. I mean, that's 2 a.m, and it doesn't look like it's warm this time of the year. It looks like this is a February incident. So I think when I was that age, Stephen, I would prefer to maybe be indoors, maybe sleeping at that hour. But I can understand that these guys decided to go ahead and just see what they can get involved in at the property, and obviously really not thinking downstream on some of the headaches that they're creating for those residents that are waking up the next day and going to their vehicles.
No, certainly not. And, I'm not sure what this resident was doing awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, but fortunately they were. And then also, had the thought to share it, with the property management so they could put a request in.
Absolutely. Well, great job again from our forensic review team on putting this all together. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that our property manager client, if you will, was able to have those conversations with their parents based on the footage that we're able to provide them as well. Stephen, what are we looking at here with this trash truck?
So in this case, this was a report of one of the entrance gates being damaged. In this case, it actually was by another vendor here, that was coming in and emptying out some of the trash, and then guessing had some trouble backing out of the property and ends up colliding with the gate, and looks like it caused a significant amount of damage.
Yeah, I think, I love looking at this shot because this is our license plate recognition camera, right? So that camera view's really zoomed in to make sure that it can grab those license plates on the front and the rear of the vehicles here. So we're seeing a lot of those details right now as we're watching this video. But, oh my goodness, that is a ton of damage. I'm wondering how much does a garbage truck weigh? I mean, we don't have to Google that because that definitely won as far as
quite a bit there. Doesn't take very much effort on its part to really cause some damage, but yeah, with this license plate shot, I mean, not only do you have the plate there, but you've got the vehicle identification number. When the driver and the passenger get out, you get clear shots on their face, so there's absolutely no doubt as far as who's responsible, who was driving.
Sure. No, I think I did Google it, by the way. It's up to 80,000 pounds. So even on an empty weight, that's 33,000 pounds.
I was going to say, is that with or without, garbage filling it up?
Exactly. So I think to me, you would hope that the garbage company, would reach out to our client, to report the damage. I don't know the specifics on this one, but, I think that's, again, the peace of mind that we're able to give our clients at Watchtower is we're able to get all that on footage and record it and then send it over to them so that they can share that with the garbage company directly. And then more importantly, recoup the amount of money it costs to repair that gate from the trash company. We had an incident last week in the Southeast, Stephen, where it was just a simple gate. It looked even more simple than what we just looked at in this review. It was a $40,000 repair based on damage that just a 4-door sedan made to the gate. So to your point earlier, that's a pretty significant, amount of damage that garbage truck made on that gate. So I'm sure our client was happy to be able to recover that lost, money, if you will.
Sure. And hopefully they got a discount on their trash services for the next month also.
I would hope so, if they want to keep that account, right? Stephen, what we got next with this fire hydrant situation?
It looks like we've got a person that accidentally hit the gas instead of the brakes, and basically damaged the water line on a hydrant, and it starts flooding massively. There's clearly a lot of water going through that line.
How wild was it to see the dirt kind of bubble up? Like you kind of knew what was about to happen,
Yeah. And then it just progressively, turns into more of a fountain. It's like Old Faithful here.
What do you think the driver of the Mini Cooper's thinking right now?
Oh, they're thinking, oh no, what did I do?
How do I get out of this situation? And is there anybody witnessing this? Oh, and then the biker pulls up. So now he knows that he's been observed as most likely the culprit.
Yeah, at first he's hoping that there's not a camera right there looking at him. and then he realizes he's been caught, right? Not only by the camera, but also by the bike rider.
Hey, did I have this correct from our team that we were able to get a license plate off that Mini Cooper?
We did. In fact, even though it wasn't passing through one of our license plate cameras, still just the detail with it pulling in, we were able to retrieve the license plate off the front of the vehicle.
I love that. I think because, you can see from just watching this video that he didn't really want to stick around. He's going to go ahead and hide his car away from the water. Kudos to the bicyclist, though, for sticking around and dispatching 911 so that the fire department could show up. I was kind of worried for the bicycle safety there. He was, getting that video content, not really worrying about cars driving by him. But man, this is amazing to see how much water can come out of a fire hydrant.
Sure is. I'd be curious to see his video also.
Yeah, I think that would have been the better shot as we're now washed away as we're watching this camera footage. You'd have to think too, if you're those residents of those two vehicles that are getting just monsoon rain on them right now. I mean, just to see that rain coming off the hood, it looks like it's getting every inch of that engine washed in that Toyota Camry.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it looks like nobody left their windows open, so.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, another great job by Watchtower. And again, I think this probably even goes down to our design as well as, having the least amount of cameras to give us the most amount of coverage throughout the entire apartment community. Great job on our design team and project management team putting this system in place. And then more importantly for your team, Stephen, to pull all that footage and give our clients what they needed and law enforcement as well. To probably go after that Mini Cooper driver and recoup the amount of money it took to repair that fire hydrant.
Definitely a win all across the board.
Steven, it's another U-Haul one for asset protection. What are we watching here?
The classic U-Haul, and it does not involve moving. It's another carport that's been damaged, and the U-Haul is our typical offender in these. Yeah,
it's a great advertisement for U-Haul for all your moving services. I think this is another reminder too, is when we're renting a U-Haul, when they ask you if you want additional insurance, you might want to check the box if you're not going to be looking for carports at your apartment community that you're moving out of. What I thought was interesting is it didn't look like they wanted to stop. And the carport said, "Hey, we're going to actually stop you, Mr. U-Haul driver." So wonder what's going through their heads right now as they're assessing the damage right now. You think it's about asking the property manager to come over and let them know what they just did?
Oh man, maybe, or they're thinking about what the inspection is going to be after they return this truck.
I wonder how much damage. I mean, it looks like it got nicked up pretty bad, but the carport took the worst of it. And that's always the challenge too, is how do you get out of the carport now that you've damaged it and your truck's wedged in there? So what do they end up doing, Steven?
I think the best thing you can do is just back out slowly the way that you came in and hope for the best.
And I think they're not going to take your recommendation though. They're just going to turn the wheels as far as they can and go straight.
Yeah.
I do a little more damage, it looks like. Again, another great job from our forensic review team putting this together, and great clarity of that shot. Looks like they go ahead and move on about their day. I'm not seeing them reaching out to the property manager and letting them know that they just damaged the carport.
No, but usually the maintenance will be walking through and do their normal rounds and notice that something doesn't look right, and so we get the report. And as I was mentioning a bit earlier, whenever we hear a report of a carport that's damaged, 9 times out of 10 we just look for the U-Haul, and that's our culprit.
Well, and I love that shot at the end. I'm looking at the license plate off that license plate recognition camera, and there's your license plate. So that's all that, our client needs to call the local U-Haul and say, hey, who had that rented, so that I could go hold that resident accountable that was trying to get out scot-free without any sort of, damages that they need to be paying back to the community. So just another example. Hey, if Watchtower is installed at your community, Mr. and Mrs. Resident, if you hit carports, go tell the property manager before the property manager finds out through Watchtower, is my piece of advice to those residents that aren't paying attention driving those big trucks. So staying on asset protection, Steven, now we got this SUV coming into the property just before 11 o'clock at night with their flashers on. What are we about to witness here?
We are about to witness this vehicle driving straight through the fence line and then pulling back out and crashing into another vehicle.
I mean, it's wild. And
this is a rough night for this driver.
Yes. And you kind of think in this classic situation, is this the example of them trying to hit their brakes instead of hit their gas instead of the brake pedals? But I mean, it almost looks like they just wanted to see if it would work, if they could just run through the fence.
Testing out the 4-wheel drive. They
are. And I believe this is a Ford model, so it definitely was built Ford tough. I think, as the fence could attest to. But this is what kind of baffles me, is like, okay, now I still got my flashers on. I've now ran over a fence. I'm in another part of the property I shouldn't be. There's vehicles still entering and exiting the parking lot behind me. So now I'm just going to go ahead and reverse into another car instead of just maybe pulling out. I don't know. What do you think's going on in their head right now at this point, Steven?
They are thinking, I got to get out of Dodge here. Where am I going?
That's right. So this poor maroon SUV sitting over here nice and parked in a quiet parking spot is about to get rear-ended by this SUV. Do you think he's going to go ahead and put a note on that maroon SUV's car? Hey, I'm sorry I hit your car. Call me so I can pay for the damage.
Highly doubtful.
Yeah. What about the chances that he goes to Mr. and Mrs. Property Manager in the morning saying, hey, sorry I did that. I'd like to pay for the fence that I just damaged.
Yeah, I doubt that also. I don't think he's leaving a note anywhere.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I've only been doing this for almost 4 years with Watchtower, but that's what I love about, what we're able to provide our customers, through this forensic review process that we're looking at, is it gives them everything that they need to go after that person, especially that license plate. I love that license plate recognition camera at the end. It just grabs that tag. Our customers are able to share that with law enforcement if law enforcement already didn't receive the completed review by Watchtower, which is a good chance they had. just to save our clients time, and then more importantly, hold that person accountable. I would imagine they slept in the next morning after all this damage they created.
Yeah, likely so. And a lot of times in these cases, it would just be initially reported as the fence being damaged, and then we found it hitting the other vehicle. So then if that resident were to come by a day or two later and say, hey, there's damage on my vehicle, they already have the answer for them, because we located that as well.
Another perfect video of how some of these people are caught on camera here in the multifamily world. So love this review, and always happy to hear another satisfied customer because we're able to pull this footage for them. Hey, staying on asset protection, Stephen, I think the next one involves a vehicle being damaged by some people around 2:30 in the morning. Is that right?
That is correct. And based on this, likely they knew, the victim here. There's some kind of relationship, and they are not happy with them.
Well, and I'm looking at the date stamp. It looks like it's the early morning of post 4th of July celebration. So I think, something to point out here is, one of the cameras looks like it was a black and white. And it's my understanding with low lighting that some of those settings we put on our cameras allow us to get that crystal clear type of view at 2:30 in the morning in a very low lighting, setting. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We'll generally, advocate for, highlighting, in the area just to make sure that we can clearly see everything. But that's not always achievable. And so the cameras are set so that after the lighting dips below a certain level, they'll automatically switch over into that infrared mode, which still allows us to gather the details that we need.
I love it. So these individuals think they're sneaking into the property at 2:30 in the morning after setting off fireworks all night and like, hey, we're going to go ahead and just spray paint this vehicle that we don't like because there's probably some beef there, and get out of here scot-free. But what they fail to remember is they're not watching our podcast even. So they don't know that, hey, actually Watchtower is really good at what they do with video surveillance, and we're going to catch you guys, not to mention the license plate on the back of your vehicle when you exit the property, even though we can't get a crystal clear view of the actual spray paint going onto the vehicle. So I just wish people that do bad activity, criminal activity, would watch our show and then just decide to go somewhere else and do that, not to our clients' apartment communities. I don't know, Stephen, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they would probably think twice if they had seen an episode or two.
Man. And I tell you, what do you think they had to tell their parents when they got the letter from law enforcement that your vehicle's been involved in a crime and they need to come down to the police station and talk to them? I mean,
oh goodness, that's a conversation that I would never want to have.
I completely agree. So, hey, one of the things you talked about lighting too, obviously in our world in sales, we always tell our future customers that in video surveillance, we're fans of trees being eliminated and lights being turned on. And that's not always the case, right? Things are going to grow into the camera view. Lights are going to go out in the parking lots. But I think one of the things that I love to highlight is just the, part of the service with Watchtowers. We do frequent light audits and, camera obstruction view audits, if you will. And if we see anything like that, like a parking light going out, we proactively send that to our customer just to let them know in case maintenance doesn't know yet, so they can get those lights turned back on or trim back those tree limbs that are blocking our view.
Yeah, we're very proactive about that, not only on the review side, where if we see something that seems off, we'll report that, but our service team does an incredible job of just doing routine, scans of every camera. And if they identify anything, there's a ticket that's put in that either you get somebody at the property level to come by and trim a tree back or replace a light bulb, or if we have a service visit already scheduled, they'll just go ahead and take care of that while they're out there often.
Love it. So either way, the end result is our client gets the who, what, when, and where from Watchtower when they submit a review like this on a resident that's really upset, waking up after the 4th of July and finding black spray paint all over the hood of their car. Well, yep. Thanks to Watchtower and their investment in us, we were able to hold those people accountable that did the damage. So another great job by our Forensic Review team. Stephen, continue on this asset protection mode. It looks like we got another U-Haul that's up to some mischief, or maybe just some lack of paying attention.
Yep, they will let just about anybody drive these. And yet again, we have another report of a carport being damaged, and it's the typical U-Haul suspect.
You know what I don't understand is like when you just like plow into a carport, why would you get out and just look to make sure, okay, yeah, I did damage, and then you just leave? Like, I mean, well, maybe it's because of what we do, right, at Watchtower, but like you would think like, okay, I'm a resident, either moving in, moving out. I'm probably the right thing to do is go ahead and go talk to the property manager. Why is it that they don't do that?
I think they probably think that they're just going to get away with it, or that nobody's watching, or they've got a deadline that they have to return the truck by, and they just want to hit that.
I mean, it's a good point, but I think it's one of those moments in life where I know, at Watchtower, we always catch the who, what, when, and where. So we're going to hold that person accountable. But my goodness, like maybe it's $200, $300, $400, but now that's going to be $200, $300, $400 that they're held accountable to pay. In addition to, I would imagine maybe their deposit's going to be lost too, because if they're that reckless with vehicles, I would imagine that they might be a little reckless with their apartment home and the handoff there. Just another plug for U-Haul, I guess. I mean, you think that there's other moving companies out there that they could rent trucks from, but it seems like inevitably it's U-Haul every time here at Watchtower that we find that's doing the damage at the properties.
Yeah, seems to be the case. I mean, I suppose it is a testament to how sturdy these U-Haul trucks are. Doesn't seem like they really incur a lot of damage when they hit these, but they certainly inflict some damage on the property.
Absolutely. I think I get scrutinized more from budget rental car to make sure that all the scratches are accounted for when I turn in my vehicle when I'm traveling for work. But U-Haul is probably like, hey, you got it back? Thank you. We'll run out to the next person here in 2 minutes. So awesome job again by Watchtower's Forensic Review team. Love the camera quality, the footage. You get the person getting out of the U-Haul. You got a nice face shot too. So that person's going to be held accountable thanks to the apartment community having Watchtower installed. All right, Stephen, we got another one with asset protection. This time it involves a spray paint bottle and a bunch of juveniles.
Yes, it does. And they have a little trouble figuring out how to work the spray paint can, but they do figure it out. And do they use it?
Well, and as a father of 4 girls, I can empathize with the adult here that she's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to maybe just go inside where it's nice and cool and just have a few minutes myself. So you guys be safe in the courtyard area. And what she doesn't know is they took a spray paint bottle. And what are they going to do with that, Stephen, throughout the property?
Well, as you would guess, they're going to go through the courtyard and different areas of the property, and they are going to tag or sign their names on several different parts, on the wall, on the planters, pretty much everywhere.
It's like in our house, if our girls want to play with markers, they have to be in one area at one table. If not, we know that they could probably do some graffiti to the furniture. But again, I can empathize with this adult that sometimes it's hard to make sure that you can eliminate those possibilities. But these guys, seem to be artists. So they tag the planter where they host some trees. What else do they tag with the spray paint bottle?
Oh, we've got the side of the building here, on the brick and the siding.
Oh my goodness.
All over. The world is their canvas.
I think they've been watching some Bob Ross. Maybe PBS is playing on in the background, I would imagine. And, where Bob wants to paint trees, they're like, well, if we can't paint trees, we might as well paint letters and stuff and, just kind of modify a little bit. So you can't hate the creativity here. Well, what else? I mean, it looks like they move on to the playground. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So the playground, that probably cost a bunch of money just to install. That AstroTurf looking nice and clean. We're gonna go ahead and tag that, spray that. We're gonna run back into the hallway, grab a scooter, looks like, jet around. And then it looks like the adult comes back towards the end on her phone. Probably has no idea what just happened. What do you think she's going to say when the property manager calls her and say, hey, can you come out in the office and look at the footage that we have here of the kids?
Yeah, I think it'll be the initial denial, no way my angels could do that. and then you see the footage and it's, oh no. So those kids, they're going to be doing a lot of chores, to pay for the damage here.
Absolutely. And, this is from time to time, again, just serving north of 850 customers today in the multifamily space. You hear about this is, some of our customers almost like to not show the footage first just to see if they would fess up. But to be able to give our customers, the edited footage that they do need to have those kind of conversations, again, it's a nice part of our why statement at Watchtower Security and how we help our multifamily clients. But then more importantly, as expense control measures are put in place right now to help reduce cost from the operational standpoint, I'm sure this gives our customers peace of mind that they can actually have now the resident pay that bill to the Sherwin-Williams guy and not have to eat that themselves because they didn't know who was responsible for that spray painting.
Yeah, it makes it an easier conversation to have, with the proof that's right there. And, sometimes it's not even the actual video that they need. We prepare those as, still image collages that just show the highlights. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you, how many times I've heard that they confront the resident. They say, no, I didn't do it. And all they do is show them the picture and they go, oh, all right, hands up. It was me.
And now I'll sign that payment plan, Mr. and Mrs. Property Manager, because it's my responsibility. So that's what I love about it. The conversation we get all the time is how does Watchtower, help protect my asset? Well, I think we showed quite a few of those, visual examples today, thanks to our Forensic Review team. And for those of you guys that are watching right now and they're just interested in maybe taking the next step and learning more about how Watchtower basically outsources all things video surveillance for our clients, go ahead and just fill out that contact form. And a member of our sales team will reach out to you and we'll show you some of these examples. We'll have some new examples because, as one would imagine, because we're serving that many amount of apartment communities, we're seeing a lot of these videos on a daily basis.